The Cosair K63 wireless. Let's find out if it's worth the extra premium. I'm Rio Gion and welcome to Rio Gion Keyboards. If you ever wanted a strafe TKO, this is it, man. The K63 ditches the metal plate for a plastic coating, and it pretty much resembles the Cosair strafe at almost every single angle. Although it's a TKO, it still has dedicated media control, Windows lock, and lighting modes on the top. Too bad those do not have lights on them. The keyboard sticks to a more gamer font from the current generation of keyboards, and some might like it because it brings more light to the keyboard, while others might miss the more professional font from the older generation. Personally, I like the more professional font from the older generation, but I've grown to like this font because I see it every single day on my K70. The ISO layout might be an issue when it comes to replacing keycaps, but Cosair did release their own custom keycap set, so if you're willing to part more of your cash, then you can get the higher quality keycaps. I dig the floating design for the look and the simplicity of cleaning the keyboard. The main concern with this keyboard is with the wireless function, and is it gonna crap out sometime later on? Also, is it worth to pay the extra premium for the wireless version? So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, you gotta hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications for the latest content. This keyboard has the light bulb on top of the switch instead of the clear casing from the RGB versions, which makes me think I'm hitting the lights every single time I press the key. The keyboard uses authentic Cherry MX switches, which are proven to last a full 50 million clicks. From my time using a variety of keyboards, I feel like the clear casing on the Cherry switches feels smoother than the black casings. Then again, I haven't used the Cherry MX RGB red for a very long time, so that statement might not be too accurate. What I can tell with confidence is that if you want a proven switch that's going to last you for a very long time, the MX Reds are the ones to go with. At this point in my keyboard reviewing career, if you can even call it that, it's safe to assume that all Cosair mechanical keyboards uses Cherry stabilizers. As I'm saying that, I'm just waiting for someone to comment down below and tell me how wrong I am. Anyways, the Cherry stabilizers are nice because it's a lot easier, and I mean it when I say it's a lot easier to take out the longer keycaps for cleaning than with the Cosair stabilizers, because you don't have to deal with those friggin' metal wires and those little plastic pieces that connects the wires. Those little plastic pieces are like the stuff of my nightmares, because not only you can break them pretty easily, but if you don't put them in the correct order, you can't put the keycaps back on. If you don't clean your keyboards or never plan on taking out the longer keycaps, then the Cosair stabilizers are the ones to go with. This keyboard uses the typical thin ABS caps that are found in most mainstream gaming keyboards. At this price point, I wouldn't want to ask for higher quality keycaps, but I know Cosair won't give it to us because they're selling them on the side. These keycaps aren't as bad, they're just not what you would expect when paying a premium price and expecting a premium keyboard and expecting a premium keycaps. But then again, people are buying a K95 at 200 bucks, so that keyboard has the same keycaps as this one. So I guess I shouldn't really be complaining much because the market accepts. The wrist rest game here is pretty weak because it's flimsy plastic with those small little plastic hooks that can break pretty easily. The one thing I noticed about Cosair keyboards is that their wrist rest game tends to be pretty weak when compared to their competitors. Back in the day, I'm talking like this was a long time ago, even though it's probably just a year or so. When Razer didn't have those foamy soft wrist rests, people were so glad that Cosair keyboards actually have wrist rests. But here's the thing, those days are over. I seriously think the Cosair needs to step up the wrist rest game, or else Razer is gonna take away more customers. The flip out feet does have rubber on them, so it's gonna keep the board planted at both angles. They give you a charging cable which you can use in the meantime while the keyboard is charging, so if this is your only keyboard, you won't be screwed. This is such a nice feature because I had wireless devices where you can't use it when it's charging. There's also a mini USB adapter which I have no idea why it's included, but if you guys happen to know, then comment down below because I'm curious myself. From my experience, if I'm about 15 feet away from the dongle, then the keyboard will begin to lag. I also notice that the keyboard lagging if I'm behind multiple walls. Those are not the most ideal conditions to use the keyboard, but if you plan on pranking people, then just keep in mind at 15 feet, that's when the keyboard begins to lag. I would only recommend pranking people that have a sense of humor. If not, you might be in trouble. But then again, who am I to say what you can and cannot do with the keyboard? I like the fact that there is a charging cable, because I remember using other wireless keyboards that actually needs batteries, which is a bummer because it can be a hassle when I need to use the keyboard right away. There is a software to use with the keyboard, and you can macro every single key, which is a nice addition, but by no means you should get this keyboard if you play MMOs or you edit lots of videos. There's a surprising amount of effects despite the keyboard only being blue. Not that I'm complaining, because most of my RGB keyboards, I tend to set the color blue or some kind of combination of blue because it's a single LED keyboard and I don't think there's too much to do with the software in terms of updates, and I don't expect there to be custom lighting profiles either. I think the software is as good as it's gonna get. So it's either I've gotten used to the MX Reds, or I'm beginning to develop feelings towards linear switch, that after using multiple linear switch keyboards in a row, I'm really digging this keyboard in terms of the typing experience. The transitions are smooth and I feel like I'm flying through the keyboard from time to time. I still make the most mistake with the linear switches, but my level of enjoyment have shot up drastically as time passes. I still wouldn't say I'm coming up with excuses to type on this keyboard, but during the time that I do type on it, I do enjoy the experience. This keyboard does one thing really well. It's perfect for people that mainly play FPS games. I cannot see a better keyboard for playing FPS, especially if you have a couch setup. As long as you're somewhere within 15 feet of the dongle, you shouldn't experience lag. But if you want to play competitive FPS, then I would suggest either plugging in the keyboard or use a different keyboard entirely, because you never know if those very precious milliseconds will count or not. Pricing is always going to change, and I truly think it will, because this keyboard retails for $109, which is pretty steep considering that you can get RGB keyboards with that kind of money. So if you truly value wireless, then this is one of the best in the market. I'll provide a link to the keyboard in the description box below that like button for you guys to check out. Remember to constantly click on the link to get the most up to date in pricing. The one gripe that I have about this keyboard is that it's blue LED, yet they decided to go with a red switch. Now, I completely understand their reasoning for going with a red switch, but having blue switch would be nice as well. So if you made it this far and you still haven't subscribed yet, then you need to click on that subscribe button, turn on notifications to become part of the mighty notification squad. As always, have an awesome day.